Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all. Thrilled to see a lot of our entrepreneurs and alumni in the attendance. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Savo Bakhtiar, and I am the program manager at Takween Accelerator. For those who are new to Takween, Takween Accelerator is actually the first accelerator in Iraq, supporting later stage startup. It's actually an initiative out of the American University of Iraq, Sulaimani, under the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. Since launching in June 2020, we've been able to run numerous programs and support hundreds of startups all over Iraq. And as part of our 2023 activities, we are running a series of webinars focusing on our neighboring countries and their entrepreneurial ecosystem, with the aim to explore the possibilities of implementing solutions to the challenges that they faced in each of these countries. And we are starting very, very strong with the first session today highlighting Egypt. But before I kind of introduce or share the agenda for today, I want to extend a special thanks to our amazing and great supporters, the German government and GIZ, that they have been with us for a long time, supporting us, running these great activities and programs for our startups and the ecosystem here in Iraq. Just to give you a general idea about the agenda today, we actually have two amazing moderators today. We have Naveen, who's going to lead the main discussion, making sure that we're kind of cover all the key aspects of the discussion. And then the later section of the discussion going to be led by Mohammed Al-Wasli. Actually, none of this could have been possible without him. He's the amazing hero behind connecting Takween with all of these amazing panelists that we have with us today. Today's discussion is particularly very, very exciting because we will be exploring various aspects of Egypt's startup ecosystem, from the current state to its future prospect. And we have brought up together a distinguished panel of experts who will share their insight, which I'm very sure that everyone gonna learn very much from. Without taking any more time or further ado, please let me hand it over to our lead moderator, Naveen. Naveen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Savo. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be moderating that panel today. And I will be very happy to transfer that knowledge to Iraqi startups to explain more about how Egyptian ecosystem has been upgrading for the past couple of years. And we have the best panelists over here. They have the best experience when it comes to the startups ecosystem. I would love each and every one of them to introduce themselves quickly so everyone can know what are you guys exactly doing. I will start with the order on the screen. I will start with Magid. You can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Magid Harbi. I'm managing Adventures VC. It is a corporate venture capital specialized in education and edtech. We also have an incubator and accelerator in the same sector. And it is one of the sister companies of Nahdat Masr. So it is considered like a corporate VC.
Thank you so much, Magid. Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Naveen. Mohammed Al-Wasli. I'm a product programs coordinator at Maestro Venture Capital here in Egypt. We are doing ecosystem development in the ecosystem here in Egypt.
So much. Over to you, Hassan.
Thank you. My name is Hassan Mansi. I'm the head of ecosystem programs at Flat 6 Labs. By that, we mean any program that we do in partnership with donors, private sector or corporates. Before that, I used to be leading the Start Egypt program, which is one of our flagship programs in Egypt for the past 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Ahmed.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Happy to be joined by these amazing panelists. I'm Ahmed Hazem here. I'm the managing director of Falak Startups. It is one of the accelerators and early stage VCs in Egypt. We invest and support Egyptian founders, and through our investment and program and availing access and resources to early stage founders.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Last, I will quickly introduce myself, and then we will start with the panel questions. I am Naveen Magdi. I'm a software engineer, and I've been in the startups ecosystem for like 7 or 8 years right now. I have my own startup, Origin Technology Solutions. We develop custom software solutions for startups and enterprise customers. And as well, I've been on the board of trustees and partner in a couple of very promising startups in the ecosystem in Egypt. Very nice to meet you all. Okay, so I will start with the first questions. We want to introduce to the attendees how the Egyptian laws are encouraging currently the local startup growth. So who is willing to answer that question?
I can jump in.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, currently we have different initiatives in Egypt to support the SME in general. We used to have some sort of credit finance initiative taken by the presidency in order to reduce the interest on the loans taken by SMEs. That was one of a kind, and it actually benefited a lot of SMEs. On a different note, the government is through the Ministry of ICT has its own incubator, which is TEEK, to support entrepreneurs. They're also leading the development of different innovation labs in different universities in Egypt. And of course, last but not least, Ahmed Hazem here. Egypt Ventures and Falak are two entities that are supported by the government. They are government founded, and of course, Hazem can say more. So I just wanted to pave the way for him.
Yeah, sure. Here you go, Ahmed.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Hassan, for that. Thanks for the segue. Yeah, as Hassan mentioned, yeah, maybe you can also highlight a couple other points. Like back in the day, it was really difficult for anyone to start companies in Egypt. Like you'd require a lawyer, you'd require like certain. It was a bit bureaucratic. Now you have like the one-stop shop where you can go and have this an easy experience building a company. Now you have another law for the solopreneurs. Maybe you can start a company by just being one person. That was not possible back in the day as well. So these are all examples of laws that are facilitating in a way how you can start companies and start ventures in Egypt. As Hassan mentioned, yeah, that's maybe on a more hands-on initiative. Hassan mentioned Egypt Ventures, which is the investment arm, so to speak, of the Ministry of International Cooperation, which has also invested in Flat 6 Labs seed fund of Egypt as well. So we are in a way like siblings of the same initiative, so to speak. So yeah, this is in a nutshell how the government is engaging through active investing into the startup ecosystem, and as well as leveraging the laws and new regulations, not just for startups, and not, when I say startups, I mean tech startups. So not just tech startups, but in the SME ecosystem at large.
Perfect. Anyone wants to add anything to that question?
Yes, I think the Prime Minister mentioned in the previous year that another new laws or new regulations will be added for the investors in order to to establish their VCs or their funds in Egypt, and we are waiting for these laws to be implemented.
Perfect. Actually, you guys, you actually answered my second question. It was, we wanted to understand how do the government back-end funds work in Egypt. So you kind of explained some of these steps and how the government is currently working on that. If anyone is willing to add anything to that point, I will be happy to listen.
I think I maybe I can pave the way for Hassan as well to talk about Ms. Maida's role in the ecosystem as well, in the venture capital world and the startups world as well. So Hassan, please, I don't want to talk about they're your partners after.
Like Salah and Mani. Ms. Maida is the micro and small and medium enterprises support organization in Egypt, or actually development authority in Egypt. It's backed by the Ministry of used to be investment and industry. Now I think it's more trade and commerce. It used to be actually the social fund in Egypt, and Ms. Maida is one of our limited partners, which means one of our partners in our seed fund in Egypt, Cairo Seed Fund. But on a different note, so apart from their being investors with us in the Cairo Seed program or the Egypt Fund, they have the role in supporting micro and small and mid-sized enterprises in Egypt, whether through providing them with the funding needed or the technical support when it comes to business plans, development, or market studies for certain industries. So typically you can walk into Ms. Maida with an idea, and there you should find, so if this is an idea for something that is has been there for quite a time, you should find some sort of a support in terms of business plan, and if all the papers are in place, you should be walking away with some sort of support in terms of financing or funding or at least technical support.
Okay, can I ask you a question here, Hassan, so people can get to know more about this? What about the selection criteria? How are startups who are getting support out of this are being selected, or what are the KPIs or the key factors that you select startups based on?
That's a great question, actually. So selection typically they are pillared on 4 to 5 criterions. First of all, the team. Because we always say that investors invest in the team before the startup itself, and the reason behind that even in Egypt we have witnessed a variety of mega changes in the ecosystem, whether through COVID or the currency flotation, and this changed a lot in consuming behaviors and in terms of purchasing power and purchasing behavior, or in terms of purchasing style. So the startups who were struggling onboarding customers to pay online are now, they don't find this struggle anymore, because thanks to COVID, everything has shifted to be online. So that kind of consumer behavior has changed. So, and if you don't have the right or proper team in place, they would not be able actually to navigate through these kinds of storms. So that's why we primarily invest in the team itself. So the first criterion is having the right team, and the right mix or the right triangle for a team is to have a business co-founder, a technical co-founder, and what we call a designer. And designer here does not mean that he's a graphic designer, someone who designs the whole process, the whole user experience or the customer experience, so they can envision what would be the customer journey. So typically we rely on that. The two, definitely primarily we need to have business and technical co-founders. So having the right team with the right authority, leadership, harmony, and communication in place. Second of all, of course, market validation. And by market validation, we mean something, I mean, every startup should be around solving a problem or innovating in a problem for a certain market. So everybody gets excited about solutions, and they get endorsements from family, from friends. But this changes whenever you're trying to actually ask for money for these service rendered. So the market validation is something that is of utmost importance. It's a challenge that entrepreneurs, not only in the Arab world, but all over the world, are struggling with. And the reason behind that is it's very easy for entrepreneurs to imagine the market need and the customer needs and translate it into features and trying to push, create a demand for a product as opposed to creating a product for a demand. Because not everyone has selling skills, not everyone can go ahead and talk to strangers and do some surveys and interviews as opposed to Googling market numbers, for instance. And I always advise people to shy away from Googling market trends and market numbers as opposed to actually talking to prospect customers and getting real feedback, what they are really lacking, what they do need, and what they're actually looking for. So market validation, team, and of course, investment readiness. These are the three criteria that we look for. I'll stop here to, provide some more opportunity for maybe one of our colleagues if he wants to add anything.
So I would ask Megad and Ahmed if you want to add anything to what Hassan mentioned on the selection criteria.
I totally agree with what Hassan mentioned. The team is number one for us. What is different between us and Ahmed and Hassan is to be related to education and edtech sector. This is the extra thing that we are looking for. But I totally agree with him that the team is the key.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go to the next question. You guys mentioned earlier that TEEK helped a lot in enhancing the ecosystem for the startups. So my next question would be, how does TEEK, the Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center in Egypt, how does they exactly work? What is their support model to startups to help them grow and facilitate all the process for them? No one is willing to take this?
I can take this. Hassan, okay. You're no? All right. All right. Can I just jump back to the last question as well, just to cover a certain thing? Like Hassan did a brilliant job explaining how things work for a VC in terms of selection. I think the one thing that I would add is also, yeah, it's a great point about people just trying to coming up with ideas and wanting to just pursue them. Yeah, and we call it like it's you're found a solution and you're looking for a problem for this solution to just fit in it, and that's definitely something that you don't want to do. The other thing is the other criteria would be for me is timing. Like a lot of the time you see good problems, you see good solutions, but there is a misfit or a mistiming in the introduction of this solution. Like maybe the infrastructure is not ready, culture is not ready to accept certain solutions or something like that. So you need to figure out the timing to introduce that. And that as well, Hassan mentioned the answer to that as well, which is to talk to users or potential users or customers, just talk to people rather than just figure out reports or something like that, because it's not definitely going to be the same. You're introducing something new, you need the feedback on it. Now, when it comes to TEEK, well, no one of I don't think any one of us is that involved with TEEK, except that we get invited sometimes to participate in their initiatives. But yeah, high level explanation of what TEEK does is that they try to capture and bridge the gap between not the gap. I mean, they bridge the resources that are available in the whole world. So they get experts from all around the world to come and educate the ecosystem builders and the founders and the investors of Egypt, so that we can do a better job investing in companies or building companies or even mentoring companies. So they bring in people from MIT, they bring in people from Harvard sometimes. They bring in experts from all around the world to teach the different players in the ecosystem. They recently also have built a couple of innovation hubs. They're called Creativa. They build those hubs all around the country so that we can capture all the pockets of talents that are distributed around Egypt, because Egypt is not just Cairo. So you have Cairo and you have amazing talents outside of Cairo as well. So they try to capture that, and they're doing an amazing job doing that as well. So I think that's just high level. I think we believe someone from TEEK should also be coming and showcasing what they're working, because we can't do them justice now, not being a part of the TEEC team and speaking about.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for this thorough explanation. And I want to ask you something about this. So how do you see the government is trying to support generally the ecosystem through initiatives? And what are the problems that they actually face when they are trying to do this kind of support?
Okay, I'll be very brief. I don't want to take up the whole time talking. So yeah, a lot of the things that we had already mentioned, like you said, we answered a lot of these, like the government practice or the government engagement is represented in number one, listening and trying to come up with new laws that facilitates the process of starting businesses and starting companies and starting all of that. Another thing is the active investment in terms of something like Egypt Ventures, which had invested in Flat 6 Labs and us. Something else is the Miss Meda, which is also investing in VCs and startups. The example of Flat 6 that received investment from Miss Meda, and a lot of others now. Like Miss Meda now have I think 20 funds under their management now, or under their portfolio, and maybe more than 100 startups that had received investments from Miss Meda as well, rather in addition to the other initiatives that they do in terms of capacity building. Of course, the partnerships that Egypt is open to, much like that was mentioned in when the Takween team was presenting, the openness to bring in the private sector and the development banks or the development agencies, much like EBRD and GIZ. They're participating with a lot of resources, and they bring in a lot of value to the ecosystem as well as IFC. Also plays a big role in developing the startup ecosystem in Egypt as well. So yeah, just listening, investing, and the continuous development in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for clarifying that. Hassan and Megid, are you willing to add anything to this? And for sure, Mohammed?
Yeah, it's important to mention also the central bank initiative with the sandboxing for fintech startups, trying to provide them some, opportunity space and, the environment for them to grow and make mistakes in a sandbox. Also, the Financial Regulatory Authority is doing a great job trying to provide new regulations for specifically fintech, the startups that are in the financial technology. We should be hearing soon something. I think we've been hearing in news that there will be new regulations related to crowdfunding. I hope that comes to light soon. And there always have been in the parliament for some discussions regarding having the startups as a category of companies in Egypt, like the SMEs and the industrial companies and the likes. I think this is a continuous discussion, but we'll get there.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Megid, are you willing to add anything to that?
Yes, I just need to add one point regarding the incubators and the accelerators. The government is supporting them through two entities, which is the Ministry of Higher Education through the ASRT, Academy of Scientific and Research and Technology, by supporting 44 incubators in Egypt. Also, Ministry of Planning is supporting them through RUAD, the 2030 initiative or project. And in this case, they cover the full cycle regarding funding seeds and funding incubators and accelerators.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, I have another question here. I want to hear from you. What do you think is the role of incubators and accelerators in empowering the ecosystem here in Egypt? How you guys work all together to support all the entrepreneurs trying to invade the market with new ideas and enhance the ecosystem existing right now?
Okay, I'll start. By definition, incubators and accelerators are in ecosystem enablers. So we start with entrepreneurs at the very early stage, whether at the idea or the prototype / minimum viable product stage. That should give the entrepreneurs more opportunity actually to receive training, coaching, mentorship, technical support. And I think there are some sort of MOUs developed between the accelerators, incubators, and the fabrication labs, the fab labs, in order for entrepreneurs who are hardware centered to have the opportunity actually to develop their hardware or prototype in these fab labs. Some of the incubators are grant-based, so they don't take any equity, like the likes of Start Egypt, the program that I used to lead. Others, as accelerators like Cairo Seed program, are equity-based. So Start Egypt provide coaching, mentorship, and training. Flat 6 Labs, they provide that, and on the top of it, some sort of investment. I'll stop here and carry it over with my colleagues.
Perfect. Anyone is willing to add to this? Okay, I think we're good. My last question to you on that part, how do you guys measure the success of your work with startups? What is the benchmark for you to say, okay, we nailed it here. We did a good job with that startup?
I'll answer as well. So investment is always a good, and revenues are always a good answer. So in the world of startups, the certificates and the endorsement and recognitions becomes in the balance sheet. So when we have startups that are investors are actually lining up in order to partner with them, provide them with the needed investment. This is a signal for success. The startup who has potential revenue growth or opportunity for growth in the regional markets, and they are tapping into it, not just an opportunity. This is a signal for success. The startup who is putting customer before growth and market acquisition or customer acquisition as opposed to growth at any cost. This is also now a signal of success. I'll stop here.
I think Ahmed was willing to add something to this.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that for us it's going to be the how much impact and how much this solution that was introduced really helps relieve the problem that was initially meant to like offer a better experience for the users that were facing that problem. So that's one thing. Of course, the financial metrics is going to be the actual measure of success, but that's secondary. Like you have to solve the problem, and if you keep solving the problem in the right way, of course, avoiding just throwing money at the problem, burning VC money in the growth at all cost mentality. But yeah, you have to be very effective and very efficient in solving the problem that you set out to actually tackle.
Megad, are you willing to add something? Okay, perfect. I will move to like a couple of questions that are specifically targeted to Ahmed and Megad. So I want to ask you guys, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in investing in the Egyptian startup ecosystem?
Okay, let me answer it with the positive things, which is Egypt is a hub of talents. A lot of good startups that we found here in Egypt, and with good solutions that solved a lot of problems here. One of the challenges that we are facing could be the governance regarding monitoring these startups and to know their actual things and how to control them by law and these things. And we are solving it by having good relation with these startups and trusting them. This from my side.
What about you, Ahmed?
Well, usually the work that we do, especially lately, we co-invest in a lot of companies with a lot of co-investors, and yeah, sometimes the Egyptian or the local structures of companies are not that attractive for foreign investors to come in on them. So yeah, that's a bit of a challenge. We try to navigate around that. We are tied to invest just only within Egypt. So this is could become a little bit problematic, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
So to
also on the positive side, as Hassan mentioned, like the FRA is working on a lot of laws and regulations so that it changes this perspective and changes the environment, the legal environment in Egypt, so it becomes more investor friendly in that sense. So people would potentially see Egypt as an equivalent to popular investment destinations or incorporation destinations, and would eventually become, will suffer less of this.
Okay, thank you so much for this. My next question is, how have you seen the Egyptian ecosystem evolve over the past years, and where do you see it headed in the future? It's for Ahmed and Megan as well.
Okay, I will speak regarding the EdTech and the education startups, because this is what we know well. Since COVID, and there is a huge jump and growing in the number of startups and their qualities. Also, some of them with repetitive ideas, and others with new innovative ideas. So from my opinion, it is going well, and we have a potential startups in our pipeline, and it is more mature than before in terms of financials, in terms of team, and the idea itself, and the product, and everything.
Even if you don't mind, I want to hand this over to Hassan. Like, he's been around the most, so I think he would have he would have better stories. Like, I have something to say as well, but maybe Hassan can go.
Oh, thank you, Hassan. Actually, when Alfi and Ahmed Al-Alfi and Anis Fombati started Sawari Ventures in 2011, I believe they were the first and only VC in Egypt, if not in the region. And they were facing a great problem. There was no pipeline. There were no enough startups to invest in, and that created the need for the development or the incorporation of Sawari Labs in Flat 6 that actually evolved into Flat 6 Labs. So at the time, entrepreneurship needs to be defined. The terminologies were not so abundant or self-explanatory, so you need to explain what is ecosystem, as one of the questions are asking, what is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is the ecological. It's like when you're having a polar bear in the North Pole, that he needs to be in his own ecosystem in order to survive. So this is all the conditions from support business, from startups, from investors, that forms an environment for the startups to grow and thrive. So the word ecosystem, the word demo day, which is the demonstration day where startups represents in front of investors, the word entrepreneur itself. I believe when I first incorporated my first company back in 2005, people were classified either people working in the private sector, which is businessmen, or working professionals. So the word entrepreneur was not yet known. So in 2011,
it was also known as unemployed.
Oh, okay. Back in 2011, the ecosystems needed education. It's like when a startup now is working on something that is very innovative, and they need to educate the customer or the market for onboarding. Looking back, I think the turning point for Classic Labs was 2017. Because 2017, we launched in Egypt, Lebanon, and Tunisia, followed by Bahrain in 2018, and then start Egypt 2018, and then Amman 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021, and in 2022 Saudi, and UAE 2021 as well. It's a complete different shape of the ecosystem. Now we have, just to give you some numbers, Flat 6 Labs has invested in more than 350 companies in the region. But for Egypt itself, مثلا Haggadah Start Egypt received 6,000 applications for the incubator, and we have incubated more than 150 startups. We've done more than 80 events in 14 different governorates with an online engagement that reached 20 million engagement online. Just to give you some sense, it's a complete different story than 2011. And when Alfie and Sombati incorporated the company, they incorporated right before January 25th. It was a very interesting time. And the location of the office is a couple of blocks away from Nahdat Masr Square and Tahrir Square as well, just the bridge. It was very interesting. I'll stop here.
Ahmed, are you willing to add something?
Yeah, sure. See, that's why I asked Hassan to go first.
You did a great job. You always do.
Yeah, well, pretty much Hassan just summed it up. Like there was nothing back in the day. I always like to tell this story much like it's a similar story like Hassan's. I also co-founded a company back in 2007, and by the way, this was the first company in Egypt to have e-commerce in its commercial register. All right, so that was back in 2007. Back then there was nothing, right? It was desert. No VCs, nothing. We couldn't find any help, any support. Like there was only, when I searched on VC investors in Egypt, I only found Sawery. All right, so that's the only thing I found. And they, like Hassan said, like they were investing in much later stage companies, and we needed that support to bring in upstream of startups so that other VCs could invest as well. So yeah, we came a very long way, but I don't think it was that easy. Like it took a lot of work and a revolution in the ecosystem, much like Alfie introduced. So yeah, without taking any much more time.
Thank you so much for the thorough answers. I will have a couple of questions specifically for Hassan. So I want to ask you, what are some of the unique challenges that service providers face in working with startups in Egypt?
Service providers providing services for startups?
Yeah.
You have two categories. You have the very happy ones with the startups that have a great runway, that are, have abundance in resources. They're paying on time. They're super adequate. And you have the majority, which are maybe behind on their payments, thin on cash, late on payments, and that's due to the nature of the startups are usually struggling with liquidity and cash flow, specifically at the beginning, until either the market is endorsing them and people are actually pouring money into their bank accounts as revenue, or investments are secured in order to provide them with the needed runway for growth. I believe the majority of service providers should understand the nature of the startups. I think products and services should be tailored for the startup world. Startups are not like corporates or FMCGs. They don't have the same mechanics. And if everyone understands that, I think the products would be designed accordingly.
I like actually very much what you said. As a service provider, I hear you on every aspect while you're saying this. And I will not be saying a lot of things about this, but while working with startups for a couple of years, we noticed the exact things that you said. That's why we have like separate packages or separate programs. We did something called Origin Lab, where we support startups, give them like more relaxed payment terms, some exceptions, so we can help them outgrow their products and give them some sort of support. And when it comes to enterprise or FMCGs or whatever, we have like another agreement model and payment model and all these stuff, so we can accommodate to how the ecosystem is currently working. My next question is, I want to know, what are the biggest challenges you have faced in running an incubator or an accelerator in Egypt, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, I'll start. Major challenge that I faced were in the applications. Egypt is a very big country with very big populations, and the free offering of grant-based incubators encourages people to apply even if it's out of scope. So, for instance, our scope is not to support poultry, but you would receive, applications for people, who wants to incorporate the basic brick and mortar poultry businesses, which is fine, but this is not the right scope. For instance, if you have a tech-enabled startup that works on the poultry business, that would be the right scope. So it's a little bit different. Having the free-for-all kind of model took a little bit of a while, but actually afterwards it was not a challenge, because we've developed our kind of fan base, social media, where we have the proper target audience. So whenever we were launching a new program or calling for applications, the right target audience were actually reacting with us. So we morphed more from the 1,000 application per cycle more to the 400, 500 kind of applications per cycle. But the difference is that the vital few were the trivial many. So that was one of the challenges that we faced. Another thing was the startup's commitment. So whenever you invest in a startup, you kind of have some sort of commitment and rapport with the entrepreneurs. They kind of are more tending to commit. But as opposed to someone who has applied for free for an incubator and he doesn't feel committed. So in order to overcome that as well, we developed what we call commitment letters, and we kept very, very thorough eye and follow-up on assignment submittals, attendance, and commitments. In order to eliminate those who are not interested and provide more opportunities for those who are interested. I'll stop here.
Thank you. My next question is, how do you work with investors and stakeholders in the ecosystem to support the growth of startups and making them more mature?
All right, maybe I can take that.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so working with other investors, we act as both like local validators for international investors that are interested to invest in the Egyptian market. So sometimes they come in with opportunities in the Egyptian market, and they're not sure because they don't have much context, they don't know the culture, so that's when we come in and just give them that validation and put our money where our mouth's at, and so that encourages them to sort of go on with their commitments to the founders. So that's one thing. Another thing is that we had also invested in a couple of companies that had graduated from Flat 6 Labs as well. So we do that as well. That's another engagement with investors. And then another thing is that sometimes people come to us as founders that they want to raise a round that is beyond our investment capacity. So we give them our commitment, and then we try to bring other investors to chip in and complete that round of investment, so to speak. So that's 3 ways that we engage with other investors.
Thanks a lot, Ahmed. Over to you, Hassan, again. How do you measure the success of your program and the startups participating in it?
Simply first day check-in, last day check-in. It's evident. You can see in their startup pitches, not only just graphic design of the deck, it also reflected predominantly in the business model, in the pivoting. We had very good challenges and struggles with entrepreneurs trying to educate them or educating them on the need to pause, empathize about what the market really needs. Most of the entrepreneurs, when they come to you with an idea or a prototype, they feel that they've pretty much nailed it. They feel that they know what the market wants. They're kind of a little bit resistant to pausing, going one step backwards and trying to validate their products. But after they do so, they actually validate their business models. They pivot their business models sometimes. Their pitch deck from a business model perspective changes. Their self-confidence changes. Their numbers change. Their way they're pitching to investor change. And their ask actually change. And it's a complete different metamorphose here.
Thank you, Hassan. Over to you, Maged. What do you think the future holds for Egypt's startup ecosystem?
I think it is promising, and a lot of opportunities will come to Egypt, and a lot of new investors, and at the same time, new startups will establish their business and with innovative and good solutions. So I think, from my opinion, it will be promising.
Thank you so much. My last question to you guys. What would be your advice to the Iraqi ecosystem?
I advise them to start their business, to know their, if I will talk about startups, to know their competitors, know their stakeholders, and define their solution. And if this solution is not existing in the market, to establish it. If it is existing, they need to think again about it. It should be something innovative and something needed, and solving a problem. This for startups, and for incubators to support them as much as possible, and to know the definition between the startup and SME, because it is different. A startup, it is solving a problem using technology and scalable, and SME is it should not necessary to use technology.
Thank you, Maged. Over to you, Hassan.
Thank you. In my experience, hard work beats talent every time. So hard work. You don't have to be talented, extremely talented in specific something. You don't need to be the exception. If you put a lot of the needed work, inshallah, you will get there. First of all, try to find a problem that is relevant to the Iraqi market, not the San Francisco market or the Egyptian market, because back in 2011, everybody was trying in Egypt to be the new Facebook or the new Twitter or whatever. But now that they've shifted more into more Egyptianized model, they're thriving, and it's on the rise. And you can see it actually whenever you go to the south of Egypt or the Delta, specifically in the south, the innovation is I mean, outside of Cairo, it's abundant, and it's really shocking. Yeah. Focus on the Iraqi market, hard work, and I know that whether it's the horse or the chariot, I mean, which is first, but investors would flock in when startups are doing a great job, and startups needs investor in order to thrive. But startups or entrepreneurs are more prone to be resourceful, to make the non-working work, and to actually attract the eyes of investors. And I would finalize with that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It's not something funny. It's not something that is exciting. It's a very, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years. This is my first job ever. It's an emotional draining experience with a lot of ambiguity, uncertainty, and stress. You can see my gray hair. It's some people are made to be entrepreneurs. Some people just jump into risks. I've never been employed before, so I know what that is, and I can tell the difference now. And always thinking about my next startup, so I can't stop. But working professionals and entrepreneurs are apples and oranges. There is no one better. There is no how do you say, coolness or being in a working professional or an entrepreneur. It's just a matter of how you're wired and how you're designed. Sometimes I got the questions of what do you think should be the next idea for this market, or what should be the best idea for in order for me to do this, or I'm studying MBA, or I'm studying business administration. How do you think my next startup should be? And I was telling him, I don't know. If you don't have a calling from inside that is actually calling you to quit your job, or to sell your car, or to go bankrupt and do whatever you want, I advise you to follow your dreams. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Ahmed.
Okay, thank you, Hassan, for leaving nothing for me to say. But yeah, maybe you guys have addressed the founders. I would maybe then what's left is to address the whole ecosystem, like you asked, Naveen, like the messages to is for the whole ecosystem. So my message is, and this is inspired also by something that is written in the questions section by Luqman Mutalib. All right, so Luqman says here, I believe Egypt is far ahead of some of MENA region countries with regard to investment in startups. It is because of the big population that is more attractive to investors, or is there any other reasons? All right. So I just don't want you to fall into that trap. There are two traps that I don't want you to fall into. All right. So there is one. So Egypt comes third in the both regions that Egypt is located in. All right. So Egypt comes third in the MENA region when it comes to investment, and it comes third in Africa as well. All right, and it comes after two major companies. I mean, two major countries or economies. It comes after Kenya and Nigeria. So Kenya is less than half the population of Egypt. All right, and Nigeria is twice the population of Egypt. So it doesn't matter. All right, so we're right in the middle. And of course, Egypt is the biggest population when it comes to MENA, and at least in the companies that compete in the fundraising for startups, or the investments that are made for the startups. So let's not get stuck in thinking that Egypt is leading in the MENA region when it comes to investments and startups because of the population and whatnot. So it's not the case. Like there are so many things that you can capture and you can have as plays when it comes to developing a startup ecosystem. So it's not nothing that has to do with population. And the second thing is that the reason why this ecosystem has flourished other than that someone has just taken this in their own hands and decided to do something about it, which is Alfie. The other thing is that we started celebrating entrepreneurship. So we started, instead of thinking that entrepreneurs are just unemployed individuals, they became celebrities, they became stars, they became people that we celebrate on day-to-day basis, and people that are now proud to be entrepreneurs, and people now look up to them. And sometimes you'd find people, like if you ask 20 years ago, if you ask any kid, what do you want to do when you grow up, you would find people saying, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a policeman, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, but you wouldn't find so many people that wants to be entrepreneurs. But now it's become a thing. Back in the day, you wouldn't, when someone went to people's house and asked someone's hand for marriage, they would be ashamed to introduce themselves as entrepreneurs. Now it's something that is something that they'd be proud of. So that's a change in culture is required to flourish something like this. So let's celebrate the entrepreneurship culture, celebrate the successes, no matter how small they are. Just celebrate the entrepreneurs and what they're doing. It's a really tough job, and it's a really tough journey, and they deserve the celebration.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, and everybody, for the thorough answers and the very helpful feedback. I'm sure that all the attendees will benefit a lot from that. I will pass it over to Mohammed, and it's now time for Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Panis, very much for this insightful questions. I will start firstly by a question for you, Naveen, as an entrepreneur, especially as a female entrepreneur. We want to know what are some of the challenges you faced regarding catalyzing innovation as a female entrepreneur here in Egypt.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, for that question. Actually, it was very hard at the beginning, because when I started like a company back then in 2014, entrepreneurship was not that common as well. And it wasn't very common for female entrepreneurs to start and go do their own business. So it was like hard everywhere. I struggled big time to find some sort of acceptance that I can make it. But by time, when you try, when you fail, when you go back and forth, when you learn from others, you should have your mentor who you have regular checkpoints with. You need to listen a lot to feedback. You need to observe the market, study a lot, learn a lot, so people can believe in your capabilities or believe that you can make it, regardless of the gender, regardless of being a male or a female, because entrepreneurship is here always related to males. It's always a cliche that you are a female, so you will not be able to do it alone. You need a couple of males around you so they can support you do the job properly. I can't deny that I had a lot of friends and a lot of mentors that are males and females who supported me big time. But as I told you, the main key for that is to try to accept failure, to learn from your mistakes, and try to have a lot of business cases and a lot of mentors and people that you look up to, so they can guide you and you can take them as an inspiration. That's it.
Yes, that's very, very interesting. I have a lot of very good questions. Let's start with the Noura question. Noura's asking about the definition of ecosystem here in Egypt. How we define the ecosystem, the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Egypt, and how we can build something like this in Iraq. I think Mr. Hassan, you can answer this question regarding Plastic Labs is doing a lot of ecosystem development programs, and Saudi Ventures, Ahmed Alfie was the first entrepreneur in Egypt.
It all starts with, I mean, even when Alfie started the VC and the accelerator, we needed startups. So I think it starts with the entrepreneurs on the scene. Back in 2011, maybe we needed more capacity building, mentorship and coaching for entrepreneurs. We needed to educate them, onboard them. This will never stop. However, now with all the globalization that's happening, I believe there are a lot of shared lessons, specifically from the Arab world, for entrepreneurship. So I think entrepreneurs should not wait until the ecosystem evolves and is ready for them. Definitely those who would come after the ecosystem involvement would benefit from it. However, entrepreneurs cannot be stopped. I think the ecosystem would force itself with the entrepreneurs shaping it.
Yes, thank you. Anybody wants to add something to this question? Okay.
Just a quick thing. It all
Yes.
starts with entrepreneurs. It all starts with talents, right? So push people to start companies, push talented people. Like I think one of the things that happened in Egypt, and that was a big transformation in the Egyptian ecosystem, is when people left big tech companies and started their own companies. So this was something that was really significant in the lifetime, in the short history of startup ecosystem in Egypt. So just people from Uber, from Kareem, from different companies that have just decided to take on the entrepreneurship route, but after they had gained a lot of experience in working in big tech as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Here I have a couple of questions for Mr. Majid. Abdullah is asking, I'm a co-founder of an edtech startup, and its question, how does Adventures measure the impact of the investments its investments on the education sector? And what metrics do you use to evaluate success?
Okay, there is two ways. The first one that Hassan and Ahmed mentioned regarding the financials to see their revenues and growth rate and these things. Also, we have another thing which is related to the impact, the number of jobs, the impact that happened to the market, especially that education is one of the SDGs goals, that solving or helping the community to do something related to education. So we measure the normal things regarding numbers and revenues and these things, and the impact that happened to the market and the number of customers or students or people that received or this service or this product.
Okay. Yes, here we have a question from Pasa, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I want to ask the panelists to share the startup story in Egypt and they found important to learn from. Who would like to start answering this question?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I want to, from Basa, I think the question is, I want to ask the panelists to share a startup story in Egypt. They found it important, the story is important to learn from.
Okay, I can answer this question. There is one startup that we and Falak co-invested in called Sprints. They do something, for me it is a bit different, which is they do training for coding and programming for people, and they guarantee the job. And if you couldn't find or couldn't get this job, they will return back the amount of the training. So this for me, one of the things that I have, it was different for me, and I have learned from them, and it is a very successful model.
Okay, Anybody wants to add anything to this question?
Well, that could be a complete different panel on its own. So maybe if you guys are up to it.
Okay, I think we answered another question. Here a question: how does entrepreneurial education? We have a question for Mr. Majid. Mr. Majid, how do you see the future of EdTech evolving in the Middle East, and what the role do you think adventures play in this future?
Okay, for my opinion, I think it is promising. Regarding the EdTech and education startups, we received until now more than 1,300 applications for startups. Since we have started, it was not that promising. And after the COVID, a lot of them changed the model, the ideas, and there is a lot of innovation regarding it. The challenges regarding the EdTech startups, I think still facing them until now, is regarding the investment, because there is no specialized VCs in EdTech, and the other VCs are sector agnostic and not focusing or not in their priorities the education. Maybe after COVID, they added them to their radar or to review them, but still need more focus.
Okay, great. We have another question from Dia, I think. The question is, what possibilities exist for youth to become actively engaged in the startup ecosystem development on the national level, and what specific opportunities you or as individuals or companies are offering? Who would like to answer this question?
Well, I really do apologize, but I really have to go. So I really enjoyed it. Those were some of brilliant questions, and we're very supportive of the Iraqi journey. And yeah, whenever you need anything, please just don't hesitate to ping us, and we'll be at your service. Thank you,
Yes.
everyone, for this amazing opportunity. Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, Sabo. Thank you, Naveen, for co-moderating this amazing panel. And I'll see you soon. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Muhammad, I think we went over time a little bit. We have a lot of big questions. Maybe we can just answer one more question, and the rest maybe we can share it in an email with all of our amazing panelists, and we get the answers and share it with the recording for those who registered to attend this session.
Yes, I think, yes, we can send them the questions. And the last question was about how can international community support the growth of Egypt entrepreneurial ecosystem, and what opportunities are available for collaboration and partnerships?
So maybe Mr. Magid and also Naveen and Mr. Hassan, all of you can just give us a brief about your opinion regarding the international collaboration between different stakeholders in the different ecosystem, maybe possible collaboration between Iraq and Egypt.
Okay, I think the best one to answer this question is Hassan. But for my opinion, there is a lot of entities trying to help the ecosystem here in Egypt, and I think in the MENA region and Iraq. But I will leave it for Hassan. He will answer it better than me.
Oh, thank you. I think entrepreneurship has no boundaries. There are no borders. Now with what's really defining a startup from an SME is the technology enablement, and the technology enablement gives the startups an opportunity for exponential growth. And the reason behind that is if you have an online platform, for instance, and you need to onboard 1,000 users, it's easier than actually selling in the real world to 1,000 walking customers. That kind of technology is bridging the gap between countries. You cannot, I mean, if you have an online platform, you cannot segregate the ones who are coming from a certain country than the others. They are all users, they are all customers. I think technology is definitely the answer of how we can do that. Another answer would be if there is a certain startup that is catering for a market need in Egypt that can be replicated in the Iraqi as the model of Uber and Careem, for instance. I think that is a no-brainer. And this is something that is straightforward, where the kind of bridge can come. So it's easier whether to partner with an Egyptian startup and invite them to work in the Iraqi system, or actually to trying to do the same thing and grow, and maybe that would attract the Egyptian startup to partner with them or maybe acquire it. So it's case dependent. So I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to pass the mic to Sabo. Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think this was such an engaging discussion we've had today, and I hope that everyone from the audience took something new and valuable away from this discussion. Thank you so much for our amazing panelists. This was great. You've shared your experience, your expertise, your insight with us today. This contribution is very, very valuable for us as the Iraqi ecosystem, and I hope that we can implement some of the lessons learned from you. So again, thank you so much for everyone joining us today. Please stay tuned. We're going to cover other countries very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you for all the panelists and for you, Sabo and Mohammed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.